Hi everyone, welcome to an hour with LawSikho. Today we have a very special guest, Jay Sayta, who's a lawyer and working extensively on gambling laws. But more than that, he runs a very well-known and celebrated blog, glaws.in. So this is something that he started in his first year of law school. So we will hear about that today. And today we are talking about how to build your blog as a lawyer and also how it can help in your career, in shaping your career. Welcome, Jay.
Thanks for having me and inviting me. And it's good to be here with speaking with you after quite some time, I think. So, and
Yes, been in touch, but we long back since in college. We met in college when I was in my fifth year and you were in your first year.
yeah,
And we were trying to write some articles,
yeah.
and then we had a chat. But before we get into that story, Jay, why don't you tell us about what you are doing these days? What's your current preoccupation? What do you do?
So what I do is, one, of course, as you said, I run this website, glaws.in, which I started way back in college, during college days in 2010. So now I won't even call it a blog as such. I would like to call it a news or a portal, which does not only deal with gambling laws, but gives news on a variety of things relating to this sector, the gaming sector, more particularly in India, but also outside developments. I can't see your video. I don't know if Uh,
No, that's fine. I use that to save my bandwidth. No worry.
okay. So yeah. So I would like to tell people that it's no longer a blog, but it's rather a news portal which gives all kinds of news relating to this industry or this sector. And so that is what I do. Apart from that, I also do some advisory work in this space with more particularly with one of the industry leaders in this sector, a company called Delta Corp. So yeah, that's what I do.
So is that a job or are you an outside counsel? Are you on a retainership with Delta or are you like working with them full time?
No, it's not a full time work. It's in an advisory capacity.
So they are one of your clients.
You can say that, yeah.
All right. So okay. So tell us more about this kind of work you do. Like, see, basically, I'm asking all this because I want our listeners and viewers to understand what exactly it is that you do. I mean, if they know your background, they'll understand the other things that you talk about blogging much better.
Right. So the one is of course the news side, the content side, and the website, because most people know me as doing that. The advisory side is pretty much probably what any maybe any corporate lawyer or any counsel or even any, it's a little bit like an in-house thing also. So it's pretty standard legal work in a way. Dealing with contracts and agreements, dealing with IP issues or other issues. Of course, specific advice also comes in on certain games, on the on the regulations pertaining to casinos or the online space, and apart from that, one aspect is also the policy side. So keeping a track of the developments and making representations when required to the government, and uh, dealing with uh, government, and even in India, and even exploring international regulations and opportunities that may be not in India, but in the subcontinent or in other regions. So that's on the advisory side, and on the writing side, of course, I write and keep a track of or try to keep a track of all the developments, and I write news and my analysis on it.
Got it, Jay. So, I would like to know, like, you also, I believe, after you graduated, you began your career by working with a law firm
Yeah,
and
Luthra.
Luthra, and you started in Luthra, Mumbai, I believe.
Yeah,
And then at some point, you decided to strike out on your own, I think in less than a year, I believe.
yeah.
So, tell us about that. How did you make that decision and decided to become a lawyer focusing full time on gambling laws, and what were you doing at Luthra?
So to be honest, actually, even before I started, at Luthra, GLaws was already running and it was doing okay. So I already had one part of my mind on it, and I had built. I came in contact with quite a few people through networking and through my website, etc. So I thought, this is always a thing which I could do, and I was really interested in. Then somehow the corporate law firm job did not click, and I did not find it to be as interesting. I thought this was something interesting. This was something which I was doing, and I could do some things on my own rather than just focusing on the mundane work. So I thought, these opportunities are already there, and if I more I work in a law firm, the more I forego and don't be in touch with my G laws and other things. So it makes sense to just focus on this and give it a try.
So, if I understand correctly, by the time you were working in your first few months in a law firm after graduation, and in fact even before that, when you were still in college, you were coming across opportunities which could lead to a more than a full time, like definitely a full time engagement as a lawyer, and you did not have to go looking for work because you already had built a brand around the blog, and there were people looking to engage with you and hire you. Is that correct?
That's correct, and that's even before I joined Luthra, so because this was running for 3 4 years, even before the Luthra offer came up. So yeah.
Right, right. So by the time you were in Luthra, it did not make sense to you. I mean, you went for it because I believe like when you are in law school, there is this whole hype about working in a law firm. It's difficult to escape. You want to at least take the opportunity and see how, that side of the work. But
Yeah,
once you were,
that is
yeah, it
one
did.
thing, and there are various other things. There's peer pressure, there's family, there are other things also. So yeah, so it's not.
Exactly, exactly. So, there is a lot of expectation that you should be working in a law firm, especially when you are getting it. So, the, I mean, the challenge, but after you joined, after all of that, it didn't make sense to you beyond a few months to continue doing that
Correct,
because
correct.
you were
Because even during that period and before that period, half my eye was in the other thing. So it didn't make sense, And if I don't do justice to my this job also, it isn't fair either. So in fact, even while I was in Rutra for a brief time, I was in the Mumbai office with a different partner, but I had interacted even before with a Delhi partner who used to deal in this gaming and gambling related issues. So in fact, we used to interact, and I used to do a bit of that work also because he also liked what I was doing. So he also involved me in a couple of things even while I was in Lutra. But of course, in a law firm, then you don't get either the flexibility or this is not a full time thing wherein you do only gaming. But wherever there was a matter or a transaction, I was involved a little bit.
I totally understand. But what I was trying to get out of this, Jay, is that by the time you graduated, you were already in a very enviable position. I would say that for most people, they are, after graduation, they forget getting their own work, their own clients. They are struggling to get even a job or give or to succeed in that job. Now, what did you do in your 5 years in law school that by the time you graduate, you had clients lining up for you and you had a name in the market, and so much so that law firm job and one of the top tier law firm jobs did not make sense to continue, and you went on your own and started begin to actually pursue those opportunities.
Yeah, so see, to be honest, I think I was in the right place at the right time also. So, as you only you would remember, and you mentioned in the beginning of this conversation also that no, in my first year itself, I was looking, researching on this, and could not find anything much on the internet. And at that point in time, I I was speaking to you. I came to you, and you suggested, why not start a blog? Why not start a website? It will get you much more traction and popularity. No one reads these papers. This would be number one, useful to people as well, and you would get traction. You would get opportunities much more than writing any paper in any publication. So that's when I started this. But it's not just about starting it. It's about some kind of tenacity also to pursue it, and uh, keep writing, keep building your content, keep keep an eye on the developments, and then automatically your website will get popular, especially since this was one of a kind and there was nothing else before this. So then if you keep writing, your search engine rankings will improve. People will start noticing. People will start saying this guy is serious and can uh, is actually keeping a track on things. So number one, I got lucky. Also, I was at the right place at the right time. Also, in the sense that nobody else was there in this field. This field was a nascent field and evolving, and the field has actually evolved in the past 5 or 6 years since I've been associated. So since the whole sector has grown as a whole, so I got more opportunities, and the suggestion to actually start this. Also, I got lucky in a lot of ways.
Okay, so I understand, but yeah, at that point of time when I was in college, and I like many people obviously were writing at that time, researching and writing and things. But what I saw very different at that point of time when I met you is that number one, you took the advice and you actually believed it and you started working on it. I remember you did not believe me also once you and I had sort of a
Yeah.
conversation standing in front of the academic block where I remember you were telling me, what is the point of writing blogs? I should be writing journal articles, then I
Yeah.
can mention
Yeah.
my CV. Can I write that I have written a blog post in my CV? And
Yeah.
back people never mentioned the blog post that they wrote on their CV. That was like too trivial to mention.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you maybe cannot mention it in your CV, but you don't know what opportunities will open up.
Yeah.
And that's
Right now, the good fortune, for me is that probably other people who have probably contributed a guest post or something, they mention that they have contributed on GLOS on their CVs.
I mean, naturally, now people will mention that, but back then that was not the way things were done. You did not mention your
Yeah.
blog posts on your CV,
Yeah.
and you know what? Like most people get stuck there, and there is this whole conventional wisdom about how to do things in law school and law college, and people get really stuck there. You must have seen it, and it's not that people are not intelligent or they're not hardworking. I'm talking about the intelligent, hardworking people who are actually maybe really good at something. They whatever area they pick up, they really get good at it. But there is a serious lack of demonstrating the expertise or continuing on a certain line of expertise. Like, for example, some of the great lawyers I have met who are young but very successful, I have always seen that they have followed one area of law
Yeah.
and just picked it up and kept working on it and kept working on it. Sometimes really early in law school, like you are one example. In your first year, you started. I know other people. Somebody was started shipping law in his second year, and now he's one of the shipping arbitration lawyers. And
But one thing I would like to add over here, that the situation we were talking in maybe 2010-11, when I started all this. Right now the situation may actually be slightly different. That time there was no concept of online portals, online news portals, etc. It was .blogspot, .wordpress kind of blogs going around. Right now, this entire space has also become much more serious, and there are serious websites and blogs, and not blogs, but specific websites, which are doing pretty well. So maybe.
that may be gambling laws there,
No,
but
not really. I'm talking about general news portals like maybe Scroll, Wire. All these were not there in 2010-11. So now these online news sites, online only news sites have also come about. So sector-specific sites have also come about. And people are taking it more seriously than 6, 7, 8 years back. That time people did not even believe the source when they see something online. They want something in print in a journal. But I think that situation is also changing now.
and the situation has changed for the better, I would say. And I would say the opportunities are more now.
Right.
Like, just to give you an example, like you started Laws, yes, but at that time I was on this spree of starting new blogs, and we started a blog on outsourcing law called O Law, and there was a
Yeah.
marketing law called M Law,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there were
yeah.
like bunch of those things. We were
Sports also,
experimenting.
I think you had started something in sports. Sports lawyer
Sports
also.
lawyer, yeah.
Yeah.
So number of law blogs we started, and medical law.
Yeah.
The funny thing there is that these opportunities still remain. Like what happened is that in G laws, you are the one person who continued doing that. On the other hand, I realized that I cannot manage so many different
Yeah.
blogs. I said, okay, I will build one blog. And I even closed down my first blog, which is the first taste of law, which I started in my first year
Yeah.
of college. And I shut that down, and I shut down everything else, and I just focused my only one blog on ipleaders.in, like the
Which is doing
blog.ipleaders.
pretty well right now, from what I see.
Sorry.
Which is doing pretty well right now, from what I see. It's pretty popular.
Yeah, it's pretty popular. I know, like we like this week we hit like 40,000 unique people coming in a day. I mean, we are somewhere in the range of 70 lakh people, unique people, right? Unique people reading the blog, and that's something also we started in college itself. The point is
Yeah.
that what happened with the other blogs that we could not pursue them because as a person or even as an organization, it's very difficult to pursue different things. You need different people to do it, and that's, I think, the biggest opportunity. There is, don't you find it strange that there is no technology blog? Like there are people who started technology blogs from our college at
Yeah.
around the same time you started G Laws. There are people who started technology blog, like Indian technology blog or something, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Those blogs are nowhere today because the people who started, they didn't continue writing.
Yeah.
They did not continue. Like the reason where we are today is because we continued over like a decade writing, publishing. It was difficult. There was no results. Maybe initially, I
Yeah.
think in your case you got quick results within a year or so.
Yeah. Within a year. Yeah. Yeah.
Within a year, but in our case, sometimes we don't see that kind of results. Like iPreader's blog is not a highly monetized blog as of now. It's like more people reading, benefiting. Yes, we have started to run Google ads and stuff like that. And
Google Ads, actually, the revenues are pretty minuscule compared to the volume. Yeah. So.
yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. Google takes most of the money, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave much for us on the table. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, there are other opportunities, and every person who started with a blog, um, I mean, I
Uh,
think there are
I think
millions
one of your
of blogs.
batchmates, one of my seniors, Deepak Raju, also started a blog on arbitration, but I don't see it pretty active now. Maybe he did not find the
Like,
time, or due to various reasons.
sometimes I don't know what exactly it is, but the point is that if you cannot continue, if you're not consistent. So it is, people think it's a, people when they start a blog, they can foresee them writing 10, 20 blog posts maybe, and maybe doing it for a year, but they're not ready to put in the long years that will be, like, you have to keep a rhythm over the years, and then only you succeed with blogging, and then it goes really big, like it's a huge, almost like become a media. You're saying you're an online media company about gambling, right? Or gaming. So, I mean, that's something that people really need to think about if any lawyer is interested in blogging. One is that you write maybe a few articles on the Scroll and the Where and maybe the Hindu also. But there are people who are happy to publish those articles. So
Yeah,
you
that
can
is
go and
also fine. That is a good thing, but that is if you are writing for, just on a particular topic for your hobby, or just enlightening people on a particular current issue, maybe. Then writing for Scroll or Hindu or whatever it is a fantastic idea. Uh, uh, but if you want to focus on only one thing and build that as your expertise, then you should start your blog. Or now I think the concept of blog is pretty much redundant. You start your website, not a blog. Yeah.
but I want to, like, many people come up to me and say, "Sir, I want to start my own blog." But I got to say that, many, I have seen like 100 people at least starting their blog, who have personally came and spoke to me, and I guided them. And I wouldn't say more than 3, 4 people are still running their blogs after a, even after a year or two, they are not running, and it does not work. Like I
Yeah.
remember.
You need to
Uh,
have tenacity and continue, and there is a perfectly logical answer to that also. Why you should do that? It's because if you keep churning out content regularly, only then the search engines also recognize you and rank you higher. So only then will you get traffic. So unless you have quality content and regular quality content, you won't even be able to drive your traffic to build your listing. So you need to have regular and quality content absolutely. Without that, it's pretty much redundant to just start it and then leave it. And actually, I also realized this late after trial and error. I did not, I never used to update regularly because of time constraints also during the student days. You have different priorities also. So, so now I have realized in the last few years that if you keep updating content, even weekly or fortnightly, like I used to do earlier, is not enough. You should keep the content going on a daily or at least once in 2, 3 days basis, to keep
I
people
think
engaged and drive traffic.
I think daily content is critical. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the how it is. So recently I'll tell you, a student of mine came to me and said that I want to start a fashion blog. I said, okay. I mean, definitely, fashion industry needs lawyers, and it's a big industry. It's growing. It is in India. It's growing in India. Like, definitely. And I can't think of any fashion law bloggers. There are tons of fashion bloggers, but no fashion law bloggers.
I didn't even
Or
know that is a field of law.
yeah, but it is, right, and it is. There are, see, any industry, like, you can take any industry and create a law blog around it. What is sports law? Like, sports law is like a very small area where you have like little bit of FIFA and like the IOC and some rules and all of that. It's barely much. But if you look at it, the sports lawyer is probably making most of his money from drafting contracts,
Drafting.
or from enforcing contracts, litigation for that matter, right? For arbitration. I mean, it's pretty much all or anti-doping, WADA, and all these
Yeah.
things. It is not, right? So it is contracts and drafting contracts and enforcing contracts, maybe intellectual property law, because you have to enforce maybe trademarks and stuff like that. Now, fashion is also like that. Lawyer, it's not like you are doing copyright related to fashion. That's what people think, but it is not. It could be contracts,
Yeah,
it
it
could be
could be
project.
multiple
It,
fields.
correct. So, I mean, that way you can take up any industry in the world that is right now going on, and you can build a farm, you can build a practice, you can build a blog around it. Now,
Correct.
tell us a little about how did you, like, when you started writing, it must have been challenging for you to write. What was the, like, how did you get started? How did you pick your subjects? If you can tell us about that.
So yeah, it was challenging in the beginning, but I always liked writing. Writing I always liked. So that was not a problem. But learning how to write in this format, it was definitely a new thing. And how to pick subjects, I earlier used to pick a bit of academic subjects, So there were topics to be covered like in gaming skill versus chance, or giving an overview, giving arguments for legalization. So there were topics which whenever I got an idea, I wrote about it. Then after a couple of years, after 2 3 years, then I started tracking the industry also, what is happening, what cases are going on. So tracking cases, ongoing litigation that is going on, covering that, any new judgments or cases going on, internationally what is going on. So all these things, and it is important to keep an eye on the news, to be aware what is going on, number one, and pick up on those topics which is what would be most relevant to readers. So techniques like having Google alerts on topics, scanning the news, scanning other websites which do this kind of thing either in India or internationally. These kind of things, keeping an eyes on even case laws, even in, say for example, Manupatra or other things, for latest case laws on this topic. So there are various ways to keep yourself abreast and keep your brain running. Think of ideas of how you could write and value add on some development from the gaming angle. So that is what I do.
Okay, Jay. So, do you use any other tools like keyword research tools and stuff to find out what you're going to write on? Or do you, there are a lot of tools these days which can help you to find out what are the popular articles on the internet, on social media, on your competitor's website, and these are commonly used to, decide what to write about. So, do you use any such tools?
No, I use the only tool I use as such is Google Alerts. But yes, I do keep on scanning other websites, scanning international websites which deal with this topic, scanning cases, case laws, and another thing is also I keep in touch with people and build a good network. So I keep in contact with people associated with gaming laws and the gaming industry, so they itself now turn to me and give me information, that give me ideas, give me feedback. So that is another very important thing, according to me, to keep in touch with the network, take feedback continuously, take ideas from them, discuss, and they will themselves come to you and give you inputs on some latest developments, etc. So yeah, that's what I do. I don't use any other specific tools as such.
So that is very interesting because a lot of people, lawyers, and even the bloggers, they put a lot of premium on technology and SEO and like things like that. Like you have to be good at SEO, you have to be good at like I don't know, technology and like figure out a lot of technical stuff about your content, putting on tags and stuff like that. So, have you actually ever bothered with all those things, or have you been just writing good articles on a WordPress platform, which is I believe your blog is built on WordPress.
It's a WordPress platform, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have hardly used or bothered to use any of these tools, either SEO tags. Of course, I use some basic things, some basic tools on WordPress, But apart from that, I have not bothered with technical people, keeping people to focus on SEO and keywords and all those things, because I believe that at the end of the day, if you write good quality content, people will automatically come to your site and traffic will be there. So and the second thing is I have not focused too much on traffic because I it's a very niche website. So the traffic may be small, but they are all relevant people to the sector. So it is relevant to advertisers, it is relevant to readers, it is relevant. So I stick to content that is relevant, that is interesting, that is high quality, and probably a lot of content that gives some unique insights or unique news and information, and not just stale recycled, just paraphrasing another news that has come up. And so then there is no value add. You have to give your value add, and either I add your insights or dig up and find news, talk to people, find news on new developments that no one else has covered. So that is one of the important parts. Of course, now I some SEO tools, etc. Some ways to I have spoken to people. Donnie was helping me earlier, and now I have one or two other freelancers. So they have told me some tricks and tips on how to increase, how to be more visible, on Google, on the search engine, and how to ensure that your website is ranked and is visibility wise, it's appealing to the readers. So I do take some of that, but I don't bother exclusively on that.
Right. When people start their blogs and websites, they should know about SEO. They should do some basic things to take care of. But I just want to tell anybody who wants to blog is that you should not be. It's not a deal breaker. It's not like you don't know SEO, you can't blog. It's in the end of the day, good content win.
Yeah.
Jay, when I started my blog, I never bothered about it.
Yeah.
I just kept making sure that relevant content. What are the questions people may have? Write content around that. What are the problems people are having? Let us create content around that. And after that, things just took care of themselves. But now, obviously, there's a point where you reach. If you become very big, there you are like maybe you are competing with some bigger media companies where they are putting in a lot of tools, and you are now to grow. Then you are competing with those certain highly competitive keywords. Usually, law is not a competitive keyword at all. Like most law-related, unless there are companies which are providing services in those areas. Like for example, how to get money in check bounce cases. Now, this would be like a highly competitive keyword because many people are searching it, and there are a lot of lawyers and a lot of online service providers are competing for this. Or let's say, um, let's say something like say DNO insurance, right? If you Google this, it's damn hard to get anything because there's a lot of where companies which are insurance companies, they are investing a lot of money trying to rank their pages, rank their blogs on top of this keyword, right? Or it could be motor vehicle insurance. It's very difficult to get rank in those keywords unless then you have to want to really still rank. If possible, then you have to really work on your content, you have to work on your SEO, you have to work on link building and a lot of other things. But those are like really like Olympic level stuff which you should not bother about when you.
Yeah, those things you can learn later. You don't need to learn them to start something. And it's not rocket science actually. Even if you Google and read up on things, many of these things you can learn automatically. You don't need to hire people and all that for many of these things. Especially if you are using platforms like WordPress.
The reason I brought this up is because I see people bothering about this and then not starting because it's like, oh, it is damn too complicated. So it's not complicated. The only complication is creating good content, which is the only thing you should focus on in your.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what did you say that what? Let us be a little more specific now. what have been your most popular topics, and how did you come across these topics, and how do you know that I should be writing on this? Like, give some examples.
So some of my most popular topics. So they have been topics which actually people Google, and so you would find what are the most popular topics uh, through Google Analytics. Also, you can find, in a way, you can find which keywords people are using. So those, if you do something around those keywords, those are bound to be popular, because those people will search and come to you. So like, is poker gambling was one of my popular this thing. And second, you was on taxes on gambling. So because I saw on forums, Facebook forums, there are Facebook groups and other, a lot of queries were coming up on this. So I created a whole, sort of primer on what are the taxes you need to pay. So these are the kind of posts which have become popular. Reason being how you can track that. So either on forums, or getting feedback from people that this is what people are asking and this is what people want to know. And through Google Analytics and all, also to some extent you can know what people are searching. So what are the topics people want to know about.
So focus has been on your audience and what they want to know, and you provided that content. You
Correct.
provided very good content, which is what worked for blogging. Okay, that's very insightful.
And after that, you don't need to bother about SEO keywords and all that. Once you write that kind of content which people, on a topic which people want to know, not necessarily keyword, which people want to know, then if people find it good, there is the virality factor also, actually. People will automatically share it, refer it to other people, tweet it, whatever it is. So that automatically makes your article popular, and once more traffic comes on your site on that particular post, that is bound to get good ranking as well. So, so let the people, let the readers actually decide. If it's good, they will automatically make it viral or make it popular.
Yeah. So one thing that a lot of people do not know is that one of the biggest factors of SEO is that once your article is ranking well, people click on it and then they go on the Google. Basically monitors this. If somebody clicks on the link from the Google search, then after visiting the page, are they leaving the page? Are they staying in the page? And how long are they staying? Are they clicking anything on that page? Because
That's
if
called
you
bounce rate, yeah, in technical terms.
not only bounce rate, but also like, did they find what they were looking for? Like, if it is not a bounce, let's say the person read it for a minute but left,
Yeah,
right? So then Google is like, why did this person leave? And he's reading 5 more pages after that, and it makes Google think that the person could not find what they were looking for. Now
yeah,
imagine somebody has gone through 5 different pages and then they come to your page and they stayed on your page. After that, they did not look for anything. It tells Google that
correct.
this person found the answer of whatever that he was looking for. And that's a very powerful thing in Google. And if you are getting this right, then Google will keep ranking you higher and higher.
That's correct.
So that's like, it's just about writing things what people are looking for
Yeah.
and being able to provide everything that they're looking for. And if you're able to do that in your articles, then you'll obviously keep ranking higher.
Yeah, and I am no expert in this SEO field, but what I am given to understand is that Google keeps on, evolving its algorithms and systems and ways to rank pages. It keeps on changing according to, but the thing remains constant is that if people find the quality and people stay on your page for a decent amount of time, and and your content is original, then it is safe to say that you would be ranked highly on Google. The ways and means of Google doing that keeps on changing, but as long as your content is original and people traffic comes to you and likes it and stays for a certain period of time, you are okay.
Absolutely. So, if you can tell us now about, how did you handle the technological side of your starting your blog? Like, did you hire somebody to do it for you? I know initially we helped you, like when you started the blog, the
Yeah,
initial WordPress installation and the hosting and
yeah,
everything,
yeah, yeah.
collaborated on. But other than that, as your blog grew and we couldn't continue with the arrangement, how did you manage, and how do you manage your blog today?
So managing, it's managing your website. If it's so, my Glog is based on WordPress platform. So managing a WordPress platform is no big deal actually. It's pretty simple. It's pretty standard. Once you log into your panel, it's pretty easy to understand and and keep posting content. That's essentially what you have to do. So, so I have a couple of freelancers looking at the tech side, but they don't spend too much time because everything is set. What is only technical help that may be required is when there is some kind of attack on your website. So there are some malware, or there is some DDoS or other things. So if there is some kind of cyber related attack on your website, that is number one. Number two, there are various widgets in WordPress. So handling some of the widgets, suggesting widgets and things to improve the look and feel of the website. That is something you may that I take some advice and help on. And we have a lot of ad banners and advertisement kind of thing, so helping a bit in that, in the codes and the placement of that. So that's about the technical help I take. Donnie was there from Ramanuj's team earlier helping me, and now a couple of other freelancers, but that's about it. You don't need to, employ people full time for that. You just need some advice and some occasional help.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. When you are starting a blog, most of the time, until you hit like,
Yeah,
maybe 500,000 traffic or something, you don't need. In our case, we do have a lot of, maintenance. So what happens is that, after a certain point of time, like we are going to remove WordPress. WordPress, running our blog on WordPress has become a huge liability and difficulty now, because we have so much traffic that WordPress is
yeah,
slowing down. WordPress is
yeah,
not meant to handle so much traffic. But if you're having 15, let's say you're writing a fashion law blog, or I know if you're writing a blog for EPC contracts and maybe labor uh, arbitration, I don't know, like any labor law or something, which is very much possible that mostly people will do. And you probably are not going to hit like 500,000 traffic in the next 10 years, I would say. Okay, so if that's the case, running it on WordPress is a great idea, and it's very cheap, no cost, very friendly, it's awesome. Uh, you can do that. Now, however, if you really grow big, things will change. Now, why don't you tell us a little about how you find freelancers?
sorry.
How do you find a freelancer, Jay, for your blog?
Freelancers, I have, as of now, till now, I've mostly found freelancers to reference only one person referring the other, or someone in my circle, etc., someone in my network. That is how I have found freelancers till now, so far, mostly. But there are other ways also to find freelancers. There are sites, specific sites like Upwork, and one, two other sites are there. So you can easily find freelancers on that also, who will just remotely work you, and you can chat on Upwork itself, or on Skype and email and those things. And people remotely can do for a small fee. So Upwork and these kind of things also make things easier.
I think Upwork is really good. Upwork is fantastic. So, okay, for apart from this, tell us about like what have been the major challenges for you personally to grow the blog so much. Like I'm sure there's one part of it is regularly writing, regularly finding relevant content,
Yeah.
and how do you manage that part of it? What do you give to your blogging, and what's the process for you?
So, see, challenge, yeah, as you correctly said, the major challenge is finding the right and relevant content. Second is staying dedicated, and you may have other kinds of work as well. But some kinds of content and news are time sensitive as well. So you have to. It is important to put them up. Not delay them. It's not a weekend thing only. So even if you are doing other things and you get free at in the night, it's important to put up content regularly and on a timely basis. I have that constraint because I don't have a specific team as such, so I am just one person pretty much handling the whole thing. So that is there that when I am busy, there is no one else to fill in and upload the content. So if you have a team probably or two three people collaborating and starting something, that would also be great. No. So content and the timely delivery of the content, that's going to be the key. And competitors and all that other starting similar competing things as yours, those things will come up, but those you need not bother as long as you keep finding original content, and keep writing, your mind, applying your mind and writing, a correct analysis. I don't think the competition should bother you so much.
Great. How did you learn to write story? What was the journey? Like, I'm sure when you started, I remember when I started my first blog post, the subject was good, but I wouldn't write it that way today. Right? It
Yeah.
was horrible compared to what
Yeah,
I do
so
now.
when I
So,
started, I wrote more in an academic style, maybe like how one would write an essay in college or in a project or a research paper. But how did I slowly start? I didn't even know, for example, that you can give links to your other articles or to other sources. That also I learned later. But how I learned, I don't know. You just pick up things on in the process, I guess, by number one, reading other blogs, reading other examples of how people write, uh, and talking to people, taking feedback from people, and you have to be open-minded and keep learning. And that's about it, I guess. You need to keep reading other things, other examples, and you keep need to learning from others.
if you can tell us, what have you exactly done over the years to improve your writing? Like, how did you, what did exactly happen? If you can tell us, how could you see, like, what are the specific things that happened in your journey to become a better blogger, better writer? I mean, that's something that people can learn a lot from. I'm sure, given that you had like a span of 7, 8 years now
Yeah.
writing.
I don't know anything specific, but I one thing I learned over the times, I don't know when exactly it happened, but was to uh, write in a way that people can easily understand, not to complicate things, but not to write it from a lawyer's perspective maybe, but to see it from the common man's shoes and write it in a very lucid. And another thing is, to write not write too longish articles. Those can also be there if there are occasional analytical and other pieces, but more often than not, keep it within the 500 to 800 word limit, because attention span of people is less. They want to know. That's why they come to websites or blogs. Otherwise, they can pick up the encyclopedia or go to research journals and all those things. They need something in a very concise format. They need something in a lucid format, easy understandable format. So right, stick to a word limit. Second thing, what suggestions I got, specifically from Tanuj Kalia of Law Octopus. One was this word limit. Second was that don't write very long paragraphs also, in one paragraph. Break it down into various, a paragraph would be 3, 4 lines or 5 lines at most. So break it down into small lucid paragraphs. Backlink whenever possible, either to your earlier article or to, it's good practice to also, if you are quoting some source, to have a link to that source so that people can find what you are writing. So these these basic things, I learned over time. There is no specific, it just came to me while in the process of writing. Uh, as I told you earlier, when I started, I didn't even know that I had to backlink to other articles and all that. But slowly, after reading, one has to evolve with, the changing time.
For me, what I noticed over the years is that my article became more and more structured, and the articles which are more structured, for example, articles with more tables, with more bullet points, more
Yeah.
headings, where I have broken things down in small parts, and like you said, the same experience that it should be lucid, it should be easily understandable, it should be relatable, and the language should be as simple as possible. I mean, those are the things that really work, and I think that's something that you learn. When we
Yeah.
start writing as lawyers, and you think of yourself as a scholar, you end up writing in some
Yeah.
different language, complicated things, and it does not help anybody. Nobody wants to read them. It doesn't matter. Nobody's reading, nobody's getting impressed by your great knowledge of language or amazing you know, legal nuance of law. I'm not saying that you oversimplify things, or the law has to be there, but it has to be the the success as a writer is often in this domain to be able to write something which is understandable without compromising on the complexity. Like, it is complex, but you made it simple through
Yeah,
your work.
exactly. Exactly, absolutely. And one more thing I would like to add is that, also focus on the title of your article. That is also important. I'm not saying to that you make it unnecessarily sensational or something like that, but it has to be catchy. No, not make it into a clickbaiting thing also. But if someone reads just the title, it has to be engaging. A person should feel like clicking and reading the entire thing. So titles are also important. Titles play an important part. And if you write unnecessarily longish title, you don't need to give the whole story away in the title. If you write a title, many websites do that, and they are successful at that also. But my thing has always been write it in a very. It should be maybe a few words or a sentence at most, and it should be catchy and attractive so that people feel like clicking and reading your article.
Got it. So, apart from this, there's another very critical factor for me has been that, how do you actually monetize your website? Like, if you have I will not say a website, let's keep it a blog. Let's say you have created a blog and you are spending a significant amount of time writing and publishing. The challenge soon becomes is that, am I getting compensated for it, or am I the time I'm spending, is it worth it, because am I getting anything in return? So I know that you have done very well in monetizing your blog from the beginning itself. Why don't you tell us about that also, that how to do it and how it helped you, and specifically how it helped your legal career in terms of getting more work?
So monetization may come in two parts, and to be honest, not from the beginning, but after a couple of years, the monetization started to take place for me at least. So monetization happens in two parts. One is the monetization on the site itself. That can happen through advertisements, sponsored content, and so on. And second is using channelizing your website to get other opportunities like consulting. People will call you for events. People will call you to speak, pay you to advise and consult and help them out or speak at events, come at events. So that is one part, and that will automatically happen once you have a certain amount of content and you write good quality stuff, which is unique, novel, which gives good insights, and people will automatically start approaching you and for for help and advice and so on. That is one part. Second part is the advertising part, which would be difficult or impossible in the beginning. and Google ads don't pay particularly well unless you have millions of viewers, readers. So advertising may or may not, you know, happen in gaming. There are websites, and this industry started growing when I started writing, so that helped. Otherwise, sector-specific, niche advertisements, if you can target, those are the kind of advertisement revenue that you can hope to achieve. For example, Law Octopus is a very highly specific site for students and law students and internship experiences and events, law events, and so on and so forth. So law publishers and those who offer courses, those kind of people have advertised on Law Octopus. So similarly, based on your niche, you may be able to find advertisers.
Yeah, actually, that is one of the biggest benefits of being a niche website, because when you are not niche, then nobody wants to advertise
Yeah.
necessarily, because it's not very relevant. Because
Yeah.
who's seeing the ad, who's seeing the content is a big question. So if you're niche, you're able to take care of that very well. So you may have less traffic. It's very
Yeah.
counterintuitive for that you have less traffic, but you make more money by
That's
having
correct.
less traffic.
That is what happens here.
Sorry.
That is what happens. You have less traffic, but it's highly specific and traffic looking for something specific, and those kind of advertisers will advertise on you. So, for example, poker websites, in my case, or a law publishing, book publishing, site, bookseller or legal bookseller site. Maybe in the case of Law Octopus. So these are the kind of specific niche websites based on the audience.
Tell us a bit about how did specific some specific examples so that the viewers can understand. How did this blogging over the years helped you in doing better in your legal career?
Sorry?
If you can tell us with some specific examples and stories, how did blogging help you in your legal career?
So, to give you a couple of examples, so I through blogging and writing, so Vicky used to conduct these events on sports betting and regulating sports betting and all. So through my writing, I contacted them, and they also came to know that I'm writing on this field. So I came to know about Vicky, and I started attending their some of their events. They also invited me, and that helped me a lot. In the sense I got to network with a lot of people, and a lot of them engaged me, consulted me in future. So networking wise, people getting in touch with Vicky or other events or organizers also, and attending those things. That is one of the things which helped me. And so, apart from that, one of the joint secretaries in the Home Ministry, he had also contacted me, seeing my website, and I kept in, so that was also a very different and good experience to interact with the government and high level people through that.
That's great. I mean, but would like having a blog, can it really generate people who want to consult you, people who want your services? How does that work? How do you ensure that happens?
So people will automatically write to you or connect to you, and then it is up to you how to maintain the relationship and how to help them out, and even consult maybe in future. So don't worry. People will automatically judge your quality, judge your knowledge from your writings, and they will automatically contact you.
So you are saying that after they contact you, there is a bit of more work. So what do you do? How do you keep in touch? who once contact you by reading your blog?
So it works. It takes two to tango. So you also have to show your keenness and show a certain amount of common sense also in dealing with people. So you have to. It depends on your skills of talking and dealing with people, really.
Okay, but do you have any standard practices that you follow for this purpose? Like, how do you?
No, no,
So if
not.
I read your content and let's say I drop your mail with a question, how would you respond?
So it depends on, it will depend on the background of the person. So I see the background of the person, and then it depends whether, I really would like to collaborate or consult or work with that person. So I do a background check of that person, and if it interests me, then I would also show keenness and pursue it on my part, and provide him whatever initial information is there, and not be keen to just see it from the point of consulting and making money, but see it more in the sense, you want to build a good relationship, a long-term relationship, and uh, you know, uh, genuinely help that person also add value to his whatever he is looking at.
Got it. Got it. So that I think that's very useful.
I
Whatever you have shared so far.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
we will just have to wrap this up, in the next 10 minutes. I'm just, so as much as I would like to continue this, but I have some other, maybe we can, if we don't
No, no,
wrap
absolutely.
everything in this, then we can do another session also.
Yeah, yeah, of course. No, I was just saying that we are about to wrap up.
Yeah,
So, so basically, this was quite enlightening in terms of, what is the process of writing, how do you improve over the years, the technology side. You've given us a lot of insights about all of it. So, what would be your like parting message for all the viewers before you go?
no, I would just say, that if you like writing and if you have decided that you want to focus on a particular sector, then you should definitely don't think of too much about whether what I don't have technical skills, I don't whether I will get something out of it. Just write it out of passion. Keep writing it, and people will slowly but surely notice you, and the results will be there. Don't worry at all. But if you're passionate and focused on one thing, you should definitely start writing.
Yes, and do it for a long time. If you don't have a long time, then you might want to publish on other people's blogs because that will
That's
give you
correct.
better. But yeah, if you're going to do your own blog, then be ready to like do it for like 5 years or 8 years or
Be
10 years,
dedicated. Yeah,
because that's how it is. How that's how long it actually takes to get
yeah.
to a good thing. So great, awesome, Jay. That was very enlightening. Thank you so much for joining us, and everybody, thank you for listening in.
Thank you.
Till
Thank you
next
for.
week. Subscribe to the LawSikho channel to stay updated with more such videos that will be coming your way. And Jay, I'll be sharing the link of this video with you too. All the
Sure.
best. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming. Take
Thank you. Yeah.
care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.